of the recycling and trash area was intimated or suggested that there are some insurance regulations that affect what we have done in the past. And I'd be interested to find out what those regulations are, because I've talked to the League of Municipalities and I've talked to local insurance companies, and I can't find those regulations, so I'd be interested in that. Number 3, I don't remember anyone before attempting to place on the agenda state bills. As anyone who's dedicated a portion of my life and resources to the disadvantaged, I'm not sure that we need to place these items on the agenda. By the way, burned people are amongst the most discriminated groups. And of all of the rules that they've passed has not helped to eliminate the prejudice that they have. And I know that very personally. So I'd say if you want to spend some time, your time and resources, you should do that and help the disadvantaged, not just talk about it. And if you want a cause for discrimination, maybe we can look at Social Security. As you well know, women outlive men, so the men are getting disadvantaged. We don't get enough money. And it's worse. Did you hear that now the latest statistics are the women are even living longer than men, so we're getting more disadvantaged. So in case you women are feeling guilty at all, please, I've got a backpack there. I will gladly accept money and distribute it to the other men in the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none. Remind you of the meetings that we've got coming up. We got commissioners. I'll get you right now. Commissioner Communication. I just happened to look up and saw it. Bill?
Yeah, I just want to say that I don't often, in fact, never respond to the emails that I get. I want you to know that I read them. There's a couple of reasons for that. I do check the town email a couple of times a week. I don't check it every day. Number one, I think I'm not a professional writer. It's pretty easy to be misinterpreted. If you want to talk to me about something, call me. That's fine. I'm listening. You know, just give me a call. I'm happy to chat with anybody about anything. But I do read every email that I get, and I appreciate them. I just understand I probably will not actually respond to them because a lot of them are quite complicated and make good points. And I don't think I'm eloquent enough in my writing to respond. So.
Thank you, Bill.
If anybody else has a report, I'll go last.
Man.
Okay, I have several things. The first was I wanted to say again about the April 4th unveiling of the Hemlock sign. I think it's just great. I was sorry I was unable to be there, and I understand it was a real treat that Representative John Ager also came and helped with the unveiling of the sign. Land Care met last week. I was unable to attend, but I do know and talked with one of the members today. All the finishing touches are being put on the native plant sale and Arbor Day celebration on April the 30th. It will be from 9 to 2 at Moore Field, down next to Moore Center. There's all sorts of things going on that day in connection with this. We'll have our vendors again. There will be a continued educational displays and seminars. We're having free trees. There will be a food truck. We are having music this year, and so it's going to be a lot more than we've had in the past, so we invite you to come. Don't just rush in, buy a plant, and rush home to put it in the ground, but stay around and attend some of the seminars and listen to the music, grab a bite to eat, and just have a good time and get to meet with everybody. So we invite everybody there. If you look at the bottom of your little program, we're just reminding people to do that. We still are in need of volunteers, as usual. If you can volunteer that day, even if it's just for an hour or two, feel free to call me. Martha Campbell is in charge of the volunteers, so you can contact either one of us, and I'll make sure you get connected with the right person. The tree board will be meeting again on Tuesday. We're going to be attending a webinar We'll be meeting at 10:45 in the Town Services Office, and that meeting is open to the public, so we hope any of you who are interested come on down. The Audit Committee is still looking for another member, so feel free to talk with Mr. Stackhouse about that. This year we are reviewing audit requirements. We are looking at more firms to change auditors. We are unable to meet this Monday, so there is still a chance, but be sure to talk with one of us about it. The other members of the committee are Commissioner Gilliland, Commissioner Standard, and Philip Arnold is the other member from the community, but we do need another community member. And I think that's it.
Kent, do you have anything?
Just one thing real quick, and I know we addressed that we'll look into it at the budget time, but I did find it interesting on the sidewalk proposition for Black Mountain. I've had a few residents contact me saying they're not really excited about tax dollars being spent for it, but they were open to putting seed money into a fund to reach out to Black Mountain as two communities working to get a sidewalk. The sidewalk is coming per Black Mountain, but some residents here of Montreat thought it would be a interesting thing for us to look into. I see President DeBose here, and just as far as the folks from the MRA using it, certainly in the summertime. So it's something for us to consider in the future. Again, not looking necessarily for tax money, but a fund being set up possibly.
Thank you, Kent. Mary?
I wish to respond by reading some Facebook postings and also some transcripts. So I'm going to be reading, and I will be giving these to our clerk so that she can enter them too in the meetings. This is from a Facebook, on a Facebook site called Friends of Montreat, posting on April 20th, 2015. I'm going to read directly. Definition of a third rail. 2. A controversial issue usually avoided by politicians. Quote, okay, I'll grab the third rail. People need to change their voting registration to Montreat for this election. Convert this energy to something tangible and productive, but most all measurable. Who wants to have these same discussions 3 years from now when, quote unquote, they want to put a traffic light in Montreat? Comment from the cheap seats. Richard A. Harbaugh, Cottagers. That's the first and opening statement about some who might choose to change their voting registration to Montreat for purposes of this election. That particular email was taken to Trina Parker, who is the director of the Board of Elections, and at that point in time, just because there was a concern that there was a heed for people to change their registration. At that point in time, she informed me and that it would be sent forward to the Board of Elections at the state level. I will give this, and it's posted on the Facebook. Many of you know, over the past cycle, there have been a lot of challenges before the town of Montreat, one of which was discussed tonight. There were 2 challenge hearings. The full transcripts of those challenge hearings can be found on the Board of Elections website, Buncombe County Board of Elections. Go under to the section About Us, and you will see the full verbatim transcripts of the 2 challenge hearings. I invite you to read those and make your own decisions. The Board of Elections, the way it works is that there are 3 members on the Board of Elections. 2 of the members are appointed by the party that has the governor in power. So at the current point in time, we have a Republican governor. That means we have 2 Republicans. The chair is Mr. Jay Watson, who is referred to tonight, Mr. George Keller. Those are appointed either by the party or by Nathan West, who is the Buncombe County Republican chairman. The third member of the Board of Election is appointed or by the party that is not occupying the seat of the governor. So there are 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat. Currently serving Mr. Jay Watson, who was referred to tonight. There were 27 challenges that were brought by 4 individuals. My husband, Joe Standard, Mr. John Johnson, Mr. Rusty Frank, and Mr. Eric Nichols, out of their conviction that there were irregularities, no matter how they occurred, out of misinterpretation or, we'll just say misinterpretation. It is not the purpose of the person placing the challenge to make the decision. The judge is the Board of Elections. They are the ones who make the decision whether people are allowed to vote in their precinct and their decision. It is the responsibility of any individual, any citizen who feels there is a problem to bring it to the attention of the Board of Elections. A subset of the new registrants was challenged. There were 27 challenges, 14 of which were adjudicated by the judges, the Board of Elections, not to be qualified to vote in the municipal elections in Montreat. I quote from the transcripts, okay, by Mr. Watson. This is on the challenge hearings that were on November 10th, 2015. I am reading this from a recording that was made and a transcript made. Our Mr. Watson, Mr. Jay Watson, who was quoted tonight by Mr. Boggs. Our sustaining of the challenges based on the evidence before this board is that they are not qualified to vote in North Carolina, or at least in that precinct. Let me put it that way. So yes, we will be looking at registration. I think I want to look a little more at the statute, maybe seek some guidance from the state board, the process of that. I will be submitting that. I also wish to read from a recording made at the election canvass following that particular challenge hearing. I will be submitting this to the town clerk for inclusion or for inspection. There are additional minutes, there are additional recordings which can be made. This is what I have selected to share with you tonight. And I read this from the recordings. This was made on the election canvass day. On municipal elections, that is made 7 days after the vote is taken. The vote was taken November 3rd. 7 days later, the Board of Election has to certify the elections. They send it forward saying that they took place. I am quoting from the conversation between Jay Watson, and I'll identify who is speaking as I read this. Jay Watson, I do not think that we so much had people voting in 2 places in the same election, but jumping back and forth between places as the interest in the elections. George Keller, that is a frightening thing. Jay Watson, as we saw that in the voting history of 1, now he presented tax returns, license, and things that seem to indicate that he is now in existing domicile. Okay, but I have a hard time about it, I tell you. I don't like signing these sheets for Montreat, but what is before us and the challenges that have been brought and the determination that this board can make, these are the results. Jay Watson, I am asking again for confirmation of what was previously considered that this board referred to the State Board for Investigation. George Keller, amen. Jake Quinn, a Democrat who comes constantly to the Board of Elections meeting to watch what is going on there. Mr. Chairman, I encourage you to refer on to the State Board. As Mr. Keller pointed out, This is an opportunity for the state board to tackle a very real issue. But I would also offer that the Buncombe County Board of Elections sign off on this election, because when I look at the results from the Montreat Commissioner race, statistically you have an outcome that no amount of confusion of challenges would change. Jay Watson. Yes, well, I agree as far as that goes. We can throw out all 68 new registrants, and it would not affect the outcome. The problem is the underlying issue. I want to refer it on for another reason. We do not want to set a precedent of, quote, no harm, no foul, unquote. And gee whiz, the margins were so high that it wouldn't matter anyway. That is not a precedent that we want to set. So whether it changes the election or not is not the determining factor. Jake Quinn. Mr. Chairman, you did a very good job outlining that point at the hearing when we heard 17 challenges someday, and I concur completely. You are absolutely right on that. But Montreat has voted, and that outcome is not going to be changed, and we must acknowledge that as well. Jay Watson. There are some folks who want to declare domicile. It is a hard issue to get your mind around. I think there are some folks who genuinely believe, well, my family has been there since the mountains, and by golly, we can claim it, and we can vote if we want, and we pay taxes. Look, there is nothing new under the sun. This isn't the first place it has happened. There are cases of it in New York, a little vacation island, and the same thing. Now, with unanimous consent of the board, we will, in the next few days, or as soon as we can get to it, we will make a request of the state board. I do not know where this is going to go, or what shape it will take, and whether it will do anything. I submit this to the town board.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Meeting dates, upcoming meeting dates. Montreat Tree Board meets on April the 19th at 11 o'clock in the Town Services Building. Montreat Bridge Committee meets April the 19th at 2:30 p.m. in the Town Services Building. Planning and Zoning Commission meets April the 21st, 2016, 7 p.m. in Walkup Building. Agenda items are due April the 29th, 2016 at 5 o'clock. Arbor Day Celebration Native Plant Sale is April the 30th from 9 until 2 p.m. over here at Moore Center Field. Don't forget the ice cream at May 1st. I got it written on my calendar. And also the Pops concert in Anderson. Then the agenda packets will be available on May the 2nd on the town website or town services office. Montreat Land Care meets May the 4th, 2016, 9 a.m. in the Kirk Allen Building on Swananoa Room. And the May agenda meeting is May the 6th, 2016 at 3:30 p.m. Public forum begins at 3 o'clock in the Walkup Building. Do what?
Might note that that agenda meeting is on a different day.
It is.
It's on Friday. It's on Friday
We
instead
moved
of
it so we
Thursday.
could go to
Oh, okay.
the Montreat College thing.
Okay.
So we can go to one.
That's right. That's right. That's correct. I think it's at 3 o'clock. That is a day change, right? Okay. I run out of paper, folks. I don't have anything else written down. No, I have a motion to adjourn from Kitty Fouché. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, multiple seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Meeting stands adjourned.